Jay. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. SJ Stongo, Gary Fife, Joho Jifkidos, Mvskoke Radio, Mabo Hedget. We have a very interesting program today. I hope that most of you have seen the new TV series, Rez Dogs, but we got the man himself. Okay, Sterling, are you there?
Hello, how's it going?
A couple moments of sheer panic here this morning. I'm thinking, oh no, where was he?
Oh, yeah. Missed your call. Y'all were late, too, Indian time.
Yeah, I was going to say, here it is. One thing I've learned in broadcasting, though, there really isn't much, no such thing as Indian time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, listen, I want to thank you so much for taking time out. I know you've got to be a busy man these days, and I'm sure I'm not the only outfit trying to get a few minutes of your time. Well, shall we stew this?
Let's do it.
Scoted. Okay, well, yeah, oh God, let me tell you right now on behalf of myself and my wife, we just absolutely love Reservation Dogs.
Awesome, I'm glad you like it.
It is just amazing, just easily said, it just blows everything else out of the water.
Thank you.
You know, I've watched so many films that included Native Americans in the cast in the last decade or two, and was glad to see some of the changes in the industry from, just a stand around the fort kind of thing to more of an active role. And you've got people like Chief Dan George and Adam Beach and Graham Greene, Tantu Cardinal, all these wonderful people who have made such a mark. But their performances, I always felt like were sort of captive to whatever the movie was doing, and they never really cut loose. So my first question really is, what inspired you here to go in the direction that has produced Reservation Dogs?
I mean, I just wanted to tell a true story, a story that was truthful about our communities here in Oklahoma. And growing up in rural Oklahoma was based on my life and just sort of the things that I saw when I was young. And I just wanted to do a story that reflected that. I felt like, a lot of times people don't talk about, rural Oklahoma and stories of natives here. And I just wanted to tell a story that I feel like I hadn't seen before.
How did you feel about it sort of going over, becoming the success it is?
It's crazy, because I expected people to like it, but it's really taken off and people love it. And, it feels really good, but it's also a little bit overwhelming. You just don't know. You put this stuff out and you hope people like it. So to see the response of people loving it has been really cool and pretty crazy. I mean, honestly, my phone's been blown up lately, and I haven't changed any, but it seems to be that things around me have.
I can imagine. My gosh. Now let me ask you about the feedback that you've been given. You kind of mentioned it there. I would see that coming down in two different directions. One from a Native American audience, and then from our neighbors, the Stahetki audience and Celestes and anyone else. First of all, let's start with the Native end of it. What kind of feedback, what kind of reaction have you heard?
I mean, it's all been very good, and part of the thing about Stahektes and Stelestes and Stajatis is that's reflective. Those three communities are very reflective of our experience, and I've made sure in this show to reflect that and make sure that they're all a part of this story, because it wouldn't be truthful if I just did a show about Native people, because that's not the way that we live here in Oklahoma. We're mixed ourselves, and we have mixed communities. But the reaction's been amazing. I think people are really interested in it and proud. I think the Native audiences are very proud to see themselves on screen.
Okay, after you finish rolling on the floor laughing, you stand up and you say, wow, that really got through to me. I mean,
that's
it's
right.
So different. Okay, now, what about the non-native audiences? What have you heard there? I've seen...
It seems to be people like it. I mean, across the board. It's been pretty good feedback across the board from everyone.
One of the things I've noticed, of course, is all the attention from national media that they've been giving you. Of course, you did the thing with NPR, and then there are magazine articles and newspaper pieces popping up, and they're all waving the flag for the difference that you've made and the stories that you tell. Do you think it was hard to get across to them and get this kind of attention?
No. I mean, FX has an amazing marketing team, and public relations and everything, they really put it out there. They put the money behind it. It's a testament to their faith in the story and their faith in telling stories from places that usually don't get told. And they put a lot of money into advertising and getting the word out. You know, it's been pretty cool to drive down LA and see billboards down on Sunset. You know, it's pretty crazy.
I can imagine with all the craziness that goes on out there. Seeing the four Indian, is it primarily the four main characters in the cast that you see up on those billboards? Yeah, that's amazing. Now, let me ask you a couple of questions about that cast. Now, first of all, it's wonderful, and I think everyone compliments it. Oh yeah, that's my cousin Joey, or my sister, things like that. But with I guess the age group and geographic location having a lot of bearing on it, we didn't see the major names in the native acting industry. You know, like the Graham Greens or the Tanton Cardinals, Adam Beach, Koryanka Kilcher. You went with a young, almost for most of us, an unknown cast. What inspired you there?
Well, there's other actors out there other than the ones you mentioned. Got to give other people a shot.
Chief Dan George, yeah.
And also, tell a story that hasn't been told. It's also, telling a story that hasn't been told, which is about these kids.
And age was a primary factor there?
What was that? Sorry.
Yeah, if you're telling a story about teenagers, so obviously it has to be teenagers, right?
Right.
Now, the casting process, I think, is just a monumental success. Gosh, I'm gushing here, but these four kids are just amazing. The Bear and Willie Jack and Laura Dannon and Cheese. What image or what vision did you have when you began to formulate who these characters are and what you wanted them to do?
I mean, they're all based on me and my friends, and it was easy kind of pulling from my life and people that I knew. I mean, like, when I grew up, there was a kid that we called Cheese, still call him Cheese, I think that I'm a bit of all the characters and people that I know. It was just taking people from my life and really telling a story about them, and it was really, it came so easy. That's one weird thing about the shows. It just kind of flowed out of me. It was not hard to write this, and once Taika and I had the initial idea, it just kind of came out really quick.
Let's go into the writing end of it. This series has presented so many new things to the industry, I think to American audiences, and particularly, as you said, made Native Americans proud. And trying to achieve that, what did you think was the most important goal there?
I think writing something that everyone can relate to. It's important. There's two things that I think are very important. It's like writing something very specific about a place and people, which is our community, and then, but also writing in themes and bigger messages that everyone can relate to and issues that everyone relates to. So I think that's the key, is the balance of that. And I think that's why people are responding to it so well.
Right. And you mentioned it flows out of you. Now, was there a time or a place where you were working on a particular scene that made you kind of stop and think about, is this right? Am I going too far? Is this going to create a problem?
I don't know. I mean, like, I think that the problem with Native media and films from the beginning of films till now is that we lied too much and we didn't tell the truth. And we were worried about our image, and we were worried about how we looked to white people. And we were afraid to tell the truth. And also sometimes the truth just means being normal and not a warrior or not some sort of mythological creature. And it's just about being real. And so for me, I just always, that's why how I measure how far I go or don't go is if I'm telling the truth. And if I am, then I'm okay.
Well, I remember scenes from Miko. Thinking, hey, that's where I used to go to see the movies, and I got my tamales right out in front of there. And things like that. But there's so much of it that kind of looked a little dark. And so when we're telling stories to ourselves and other people, what's the trick, I think, in making the thing work for you? I mean, is there?
I think telling the truth again. Like, I think if you have to tell the truth, and sometimes that's darkness, and sometimes that's darker stories. And we have a problem with teen suicide. We have a problem with drugs and alcohol. We have big problems in our communities, and I think I think one thing that can help is telling the truth and not making kids feel like we're better than them, or there's something that's unattainable or out of reach. If we show them truth and reflect their lives on screen, then I think that they will feel like they'll feel seen, they'll feel not alone, and it'll help in general.
In doing that, how did you get these kind of performances out of these young people?
I mean, they're good actors. That's why we cast them. So, you know, they draw from their own lives, and they're all Native kids from Native communities. And they draw from their own lives. So it was really easy, kind of. They understood the world. And they're just talented.
Was there much direction involved in doing this? I mean, did you tell them?
Sure, there's always direction. I mean, you have to direct, but, you know, it's case by case, honestly. Scene by scene, moment by moment. Sometimes you don't need to direct as much. Sometimes you do. It really depends. I mean, you know, the harder scenes where the kids have to cry and stuff, we talk about real issues and things that they face at their homes and things that we face here at our homes, and kind of really just make sure that it humanizes everything and makes them feel like they can connect to it, and then that shows in the performance.
In obtaining that performance, was there much interaction between them and yourself as a director, or the other folks who were directing these episodes? Did they contribute, or is it really, this is what I want and let's go for that?
No, it's all collaboration. We all work together and collaborate, and all the directors and the actors. It's very open and very much a group effort.
Yeah, and it pays off. I mean, it shows. My poor wife said she almost died laughing watching a couple of those scenes.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Hey, I want her to stick around. I think one of the things that came that she mentioned was the I don't know, for lack of a better term, the ghost warrior.
Yeah.
And when he gave his big speech and then started coughing, she said, "That almost killed me."
Yeah.
How did something like that happen?
It's just written in the script. We're trying to make people laugh. So some of it's improv, some of it's written in the script. Dallas Goldtooth's a really funny performer. He's been in the 1491s. We've worked together a lot. So we kind of have a way of working together and bring out the jokes.
Yes, I mean, that was inspired. I nearly fell over myself watching that, thinking, okay, yeah, that's right. A lot of people think we're all spirit warriors or we're close to nature and all of this silliness, and then we know we're not. We know there's a side of us that doesn't fulfill that spiritual thing, or sometimes doesn't care, or just think it's funny. And so, yeah, that's how it struck me. That scene on the horse, and then the one behind the trash can where he's taking a leak.
Yeah, yeah. It's I think it's written to make people laugh. So hopefully, it's doing its job.
Oh yeah, there's no question there. Then there are other things that are more, I guess, down to earth, so to speak. The IHS receptionist, I think we've all run across a lady like that at one point. Going to a clinic, there's, mountain of paperwork to do, and people are kind of busy, or they should be busy, and things like that. Did you have any thoughts about having that particular scene develop?
I mean, it's trying to write reality. We've all dealt with the receptionist before. And so, really, I'm just trying to create a world in a funny world. So I just wrote it, and then Jana Schmielding auditioned for it and got the part.
And I think I ran into her poltergeist just the other day when I went over to the clinic.
Yeah.
The question I always ask people in the industry here, the question is, I know we've touched on it before, but do the whites get it? Is it okay for them to understand and cut loose with a belly laugh?
I think they get it. I mean, it's a popular show, so I think it's important for me that everybody gets it.
And what's the secret to that?
Not holding their hand, making them do the work, showing them a world, dumping them in it, making them relate to the characters, but then also don't hold their hand. Don't spell out the jokes for them. Make them come to us instead of us come to them. And I think an audience appreciates that.
Well, taking that a step further, another scene comes to mind where they went to see Uncle Brownie. And they got into his yard, and somebody saw I guess an owl decoy sitting in a tree, and all of a sudden their eyes are covered, and even the owl there.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? Geez.
It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Wanted to show an owl. I thought it'd be funny if we blocked it out. In the script, it literally said there's a black bar over its eyes. And then I put in parentheses, we'll try this. If it's funny, we'll leave it. If it's not, we'll take it out. So we tried it, and it worked.
Oh, absolutely. Now, did you have to explain that to your non-native friends, like what's going on here? Why are they doing this?
No, I don't explain anything. They either get it or they don't.
Oh, I think they did. I mean, there got to be people. Our newsroom was cackling a lot about that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a few questions now about the industry in general. We all probably looked at the old cowboy movies and cartoons of with grunting Indian, big nose, and you go into town, Tonto kind of thing. Now we're dealing with films and portrayals that are far more sensitive. They can come through with Smoke Signals and Powwow Highway really opened the door for a lot of us. And then of course Costner's piece, Dances with Wolves. So how would you see that progressing? And do you think there was a particular reason why this happened?
What was the question again? Sorry. The last part. I missed the last part.
Okay, of course, progress in industry, and how do you see it now?
I mean, there's been a lot of people that have worked towards the progress that you're seeing now. I've been doing this for a lot of years for no money. And there's a lot of people actors included, some of them that you mentioned, that have paved the way for this to happen. And then I think a bit of good timing. I think Hollywood and people in general are tired of the same old stories, and they want to hear new stuff. And I think that it's just kind of time. It's finally time, but it's not easy. It wasn't overnight. It's been a lot of work, and a lot of people sacrificed to get us here.
Now, you have obviously taken great care to avoid those stereotypes and things. And one thing I noticed in your works that there's no flute.
Yeah, I don't ever hear flute in my life, so I don't put it in the show. I think that the flute, I'm trying to retire the flute. It's been used too much. Actually, you do hear a flute. There's a flute playing when Bear goes to the spirit world to talk to the guide.
Yeah. But we're not locked into it. We're not stuck with that
right.
That spiritual, holy, supernatural connection that usually gets inspired. Most of the times the flutes I've heard don't go with the tribes that you're portraying. Have been portraying.
Yeah.
I thought it was mostly a Lakota thing, and then you see, of course, other people making wonderful living out of it. Okay. Now, how do you see things now? What did you see as a child in dealing with TV, movies, and papers and things like that?
I mean, I saw, the same thing everyone sees, is inaccurate portrayals of Native people. It never bothered me, though, because it was so far removed from my life that I didn't even consider it a representation of me. So I was able to watch it because of that. And I could keep a distance from it, personally.
Okay, well, Sterlin, our managing editor has come to join me in the studio here, Liz Gray, and I'm sure she has a question or two that she might want to fire at you.
Sounds good.
Yeah, mine's, can you hear me? My mic
no.
Going? Okay, hold on one
second. I can hear you.
Okay. I think mine's kind of more completely unrelated and kind of more towards the social media side of it. So I recently followed you on Instagram. Congratulations, you got another follower.
Thank you.
And so I wanted to ask, what are some of your favorite memes that have come out of it? What's some of the humor that, the audience has presented that you've enjoyed?
I love the memes where it's Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen and saying, I know that guy, or there's somebody named Bear. I mean, there's so many memes every day. Mm-hmm. There's so many good ones. I think there's recently somebody wrote, I come from the reservation dogs part of Oklahoma, not the Tiger King part of Oklahoma, which I love.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
I think that guy was our representative for a couple years, and that was way too long. So I'm happy to give us something else to love. I also love somebody put a picture of a Sonic cup in the grass, and it said, I mainly live off the land. That was funny.
Yeah. I've been seeing all kinds of it. I follow Stinjati as well. And
he's a good poster, that guy.
Yeah, he's on there a lot, and so he was just so blown away that he became a meme.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's pretty surreal how much people like it. I mean, it's very, very lovely and crazy. I'm proud of it. I'm proud to represent us here in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't know if I missed any of this, and if Gary had asked. And sorry if I'm repeating myself. In the newest episode, you have Stinjati in there. So whenever you wrote that, did you have him in mind, or did you just
No, he auditioned.
Oh wow.
He just auditioned, and happened to be a Creek guy from Glenpool, and he was exactly what I was looking for.
Right. My favorite thing is that he said there's this place in Glenpool called Rolling Meadows, but they call it Rolling Ghettos. So that's kind of, he even put that out there that's where he's from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was.
Real deal.
Yeah, no, he did great. I was kind of we've covered him, over the years,
Oh, cool.
And just seeing his journey and stuff.
I don't know how I missed him. I never knew who he was.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how I missed him.
Yeah, no, he's great. He was a great grab. He's a great grab for that because he's just he's been out there. He's really funny, and he's always he's a good positive, person to. Out there, so I thought that was really great, and I was wondering that if it had been, because it almost seems like it's written for him because he did so well in it.
Yeah, he's just so good. But I mean, that's a good actor, right? They influence the role and change it to fit them. You almost change it for their personality. Yeah, that's what I did.
While you're dealing with that particular subject, the character of Willie Jack is just amazing. I think she's won the hearts of most of the country here.
Yeah.
What did you have a particular character?
She was originally written as a male, Willie Jack's character, and she was so good though that I changed the whole character to fit her.
What did you want?
She's also so funny that I let her improvise and kind of say what she wants because she's so funny.
Oh my God, we all know somebody like that. You said improvise there. Did you have a particular direction you wanted her to go in her portrayals?
No, I just wanted to be funny. I was just trying to be the Rezzy, funny girl that we all know. That was really the inspiration.
A lot of the little asides that you hear come from her, and they're just spot on. They're just amazing. Yes, I know her. I met her, at a powwow. She came through the clinic office or something like that. And so the portrayals that you're getting from the other cast, how do they fit together? I mean, do they sit down and discuss a scene between them, in cooperation with the director? How does that work out?
I mean, at this point, they all know the characters really well. And so they have a script, and we shoot a scene, we rehearse it, or we'll talk about it. The director usually, the director's kind of coming in, and they usually don't worry about performance as much. I do as the showrunner. So a lot of times I'll talk to them if there's something that needs to be adjusted. But for the most part, they know what they're doing, and they know the characters. And they really it's all about just trying to make it funnier, or find moments that pop out and, or things that we can change. I change a lot of stuff as we go. So.
For instance, have you got an example there?
Say that again?
Do you have an example of a change you made?
I mean, almost every scene there's a change I make. Depending on the situation. There's a scene in the first episode where they're all in the hideout, and Willie Jack walks along a beam in the background to the back of the building, and then she yells something in the scene. Well, that line of her yelling wasn't there. It wasn't in the script, but I added it because she walked off in the scene and started walking off into the background, and I thought it'd be funny if she yelled that line out from where she was. So just little stuff like that changes.
Oh, I just wanted to comment, when you say that you changed Willie Jack's character from a boy to a girl, I think that was probably the best call. Because, I know so many people that are like Willie Jack, that as a girl, and that kind of like fluidity a little bit of like feminine and masculine that kind of like isn't, we don't really tend to put us in like that box of it here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it's better that she's female. But also, the way Willie Jack was written before wasn't as good as she is now. It was just kind of a side character. Mm-hmm. But her personality, again, helped define that character, and it became a bigger character because of her. Mm-hmm. So she's very much like that as well, her personality.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sterlin, I'm going to have to take a break here, and very short ones, and then we'll be right back with more of this discussion. So don't you go away, so hang in.
Okay. Thank you.
Hear that? That's the sound of Hope being killed by meth. Methamphetamine use is causing huge problems in our community. Hear that? That's the sound of something you can do about it. Events like rodeo, Rez Ball, and family time can help keep kids away from meth.
Talk to your kids. Keep our culture alive. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Learn more at ncai.org.
Who am I? Am I Native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in two worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me. Because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am. And meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio here on The Brew, KOKL 106.3, 1240 AM here in beautiful, actually very beautiful downtown Okmulgee today. I'm sitting in studio talking with Sterlin Harjo, the incredible producer and creative force behind Reservation Dogs. And joining us, of course, is our Mvskoke Media Managing Editor, Liz Gray. Any questions there, Liz? You got
I think not so much a question. It's more of kind of like a statement, maybe a question. We'll see how it gets there. We'll see how it gets there. So, like my mom, my family watches it. I think my aunts might have been in there. They're in there somewhere because I didn't know until afterwards because I didn't know where they got the Reservation Dogs shirt. And I was yeah. And so she was talking about it. My mom's, a little bit more conservative type, and she was kind of, she, of course, she doesn't like the language. That's what she said, and I was like, but she enjoys it though. And she was hoping, she's like, well, maybe there will be like an arc, like a redemption arc, I guess is what you could call it, And so I guess my question is without really giving anything too much away, what is the overall tone going to end up being by the end of this first season? And
are you asking if they're going to quit cursing?
No. No, I mean,
definitely not.
No, yeah, please don't take it out. I think it's more whenever she started the series. When she first started it, she was a little bit hesitant on it because she's like, oh, these kids are just thieving and doing no good. Is this, a good representation? And is the season going to change where we find them more endearing, or that they have redeeming, type of actions instead?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, sure, you're going to get to know them better, and you're going to find out kind of what has put them in this situation, and learn more about their friend who's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that they're good kids, though, and I think that, more than not, I think they're closer to what kids actually are than what anyone would like, that some people may like to think. I think that that's why you have so many people identifying with them, is because, all kids are a little bit, we're all a little criminal. I feel like we all kind of did stuff we're not supposed to, and that's part of being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, I think that maybe on the surface when you first meet them, they seem like they're doing this stuff just to be bad, but as you get to know them better throughout the series, you realize what's behind it, and it's actually something very deep and personal.
Mm-hmm. Right, and this last episode, it kind of ended in this kind of moment, of friendship, of valuing friendship, and like where to turn, with one character saying when you're tired of them playing around and ready to get serious.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
I think all that stuff, that storyline kind of comes more clear as we go, but it's a slow rolling show,
mm-hmm.
It's not like most shows where big revelations happen, it just kind of slowly moves along and unfolds. which I think is part of the charm of the tone of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with the kind of the pace, because I was wondering about that too. Whenever my mom said that, I was like, well, you don't want it all to be packaged up and ready to go in one season. You want to leave that open for more
multiple seasons.
Right. Yeah. You want to see it grow. Do you have? I mean, of course, you've thought about that, but how far do you want to take it? And
I think we have a few seasons in us. I'd like to see 3 seasons at least. At some point, the kids are going to get old. So kind of depends on how they age.
Right. Yeah. Well, because you see Stranger Things, how they've had to age and change and deal with that, because you actually have them kind of in the later phase of adolescence, and so. Well,
my girlfriend loves Friends, and they're like 40-year-olds acting like 21-year-olds.
Right.
So I think we could keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that them being in that age, and also natives age pretty well, so you can keep them young for a while. So.
Yeah, I'll keep them young for sure. We could keep going, I think. Mm-hmm. Friends had 84 seasons. We could do 3.
Right. Yeah, they can make room for 3. Yeah.
Let me ask about I don't know what the proper term might be, format. I don't know. Each episode is a half an hour, and as you said, you're not going to solve the problems of the world within that show. Now, does that half hour kind of free you to not have to force an ending or a resolution there?
Yeah, I think it gives you, there's something cool about 30 minutes, I think, where you get in there, tell the story, and you get out. You don't have a lot of time, and, you can't have giant moments that end. I don't know. I find it very satisfying to have just the 30-minute bits, because I like leaving people wanting more. I always like leaving people wanting more. And sometimes when you have an hour, it just kind of unless the show's really good, I don't want to sit there for an hour and watch a bunch of dramatic moments that ends up feeling like General Hospital. Not anything against General Hospital. General Hospital.
In our case, it would have to be IHS Hospital, I think.
That's right.
Now, without having to deal with that hour-long necessity there, you don't have to fill it out, right?
Right. You don't have to fill it out. And, like I said, I think it leaves you wanting more.
It does, because, I wait, usually, my Hulu messed up whenever I was trying to watch the latest episode, because it comes out at 11 here, even though it's midnight Eastern. So, but whenever I finally got to watch it, that 30 minutes went by so fast, I was like, dang, take it, it's over already, and now I have to wait another week. And I love that feeling. That's my favorite feeling about a new show that you're excited about, and you look forward to watching it, and also talking about it the next day, the water cooler talk the next day. So it's just, I think it's great to leave it at 30 minutes, and it makes me want more.
Good. Yeah, I think that's kind of the hope.
That 11 o'clock airtime is a little hard on us old guys.
Drink coffee, guys. Drink coffee.
Yeah,
soft dance or something.
Yeah.
Bang a caffeine-laden soft drink or something. The kind of
Creeks are supposed to be able to stay up all night.
Oh yeah, then I'll be mad in the morning when I have to climb out of bed all grouchy. Yeah. The format is perfect, I think. As you said, you kind of get in and get out. And, there's a bit of a hanger at the end of it. You think, okay, what happens next, right? So are you at a point where you see a direction or an ending coming up for the end of at least the first series?
The first season, we've already finished the first season, so I know where it's going. We've already made it and edited it, and those episodes are ready to go. So But I don't know what's going to happen in season 2 yet. We start writing that in September.
Okay, but you're not going to give us a spoiler here. Huh?
Yes.
No, but I will tell you that you're going to meet some mythological creatures that you've heard about before.
Oh, that's awesome.
Uh-oh,
That's
here comes the deer lady. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be the deer lady, and it's probably something else too.
Yeah. So I think my question, we have this project. What's some other things? What other projects? What other things that you hope to work on, accomplish? Put out there in the future.
I have multiple projects in development right now. There is a project dealing with Geronimo. There's a project dealing with Trail of Tears, about 2 sisters. There is a story about a true crime that happened. There's also a post-apocalyptic show that I wrote that is happening. And there's also one more that I can't remember what it is, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff coming out.
Awesome, busy.
Yeah, too busy.
Reservation Dogs is such a change from the other material that we're all familiar with. The Smoke Signals and Powwow Highway. And I thought, as wonderful as they were still kind of limited in what they were doing or sharing.
Yeah.
And you made a conscious effort to go past that or to include something else?
I still think that those stories were very limited as well, right? And I think that part of it was they're trying to live up to something that we're not as Native people. And all of their jokes, Smoke Signals, for instance. I mean, how many jokes can we do about John Wayne's teeth? And it's a very self-referential story. Like, the whole story is about being Native, and the characters talk about being Native, and their jokes are about being Native. Their jokes are about white people treating Natives a certain way. And I just think we need to move past that. It's time. It was good for what it was when it was, but now we just tell stories now. We don't have to always talk about being Native. And we just see them dealing with normal things. And I think that that's kind of the radical departure that Reservation Dogs takes, is just being normal.
I remember the scene in, was it Smoke Signals, about the fry bread?
Sure.
100 Indians, 50 pieces of fry bread.
Yeah.
So obviously, you're going to tear it in half, right? And I thought that one kind of went flat for me. It just didn't work.
Flatbread jokes.
Yeah, and the lip pointing and the A's.
Yeah.
I don't see much of that in this work.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole song about flatbread, though.
Let me ask you about working with one of the members of this cast. In episode 3, Gary Farmer is such an important character, a person, Endon there. Now, I remember him from his earlier works and interviewed him in a program in Minneapolis decades ago. And he just came on as Uncle Brownie and just knocked it out of the ballpark. What was it like working with him?
I mean, Gary's a legend, right? I've been a fan of his forever, so it was a dream to work with him. And he's just so funny. He can take any line and make it funny. So it was really easy working with him. He's a fun guy.
And he didn't take out his harmonica?
He had his harmonica, but he didn't take it out.
Oh, pity. That was such fun. And the chance I had to talk with him, he just got such depth of character. I mean, we were talking about several things, and I could see where perhaps a question or two kind of got to him. And the scene where he took his candy bar to the top of the mountain and put it up as an offering.
Well, here's another secret. I'll tell you another secret that I haven't told anyone, is I'm doing a reboot of Powwow Highway as a TV show.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. Muskogee media hears it first.
Okay, you like to hear
I'm
that,
gonna
boss?
write that down.
Hear that, boss? I got him to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's worth a raise or something.
Yeah.
Where do you see, I think, our segment of this industry going now that the change has been evolving over the years, and I'll include, those other two movies, and even Dances with Wolves had some interesting moments there with Graham Greene delivering these comic faces and things like that. So Hollywood and the TV industry are starting to wise up, do you think? What kind of shift or changes do you see?
I mean, I think that after a show like Reservation Dogs, Hollywood can't make a bad depiction of natives anymore, because it'll be really obvious. Yeah, I think it'd be really obvious if they did now. So I think we're breaking that.
And
breaking the mold.
Will there be more work for Native actors then?
Yeah, it'll be a lot more work for Native actors. I'm very excited to see what comes out.
Yeah, we've seen Wes Studi get out of the Native roles, the wonderful things he did with Geronimo and Dances with Wolves.
Wes Studi's actually coming up in the next episode, by the way.
Yes. You heard it here on Mvskoke Radio.
That's right.
Oh, wonderful. I'm going to be so happy all the afternoon here. But he was a lot of fun to talk with when he came through this area. And so I'm thinking he broke the mold and was appearing in other commercial pieces, not necessarily as an Indian, but like a detective and a couple of other things.
Right.
And so, do you see that trend opening up anymore?
I think so. I mean, I think these kids are going to get cast in a lot of work. I mean, one of the kids is got cast. The kid that plays Cheese, Lane Factor, who's Creek, he was cast in Spielberg's latest movie. So he's one of the main friends in this new Spielberg movie. So yeah, they're all going to work on things, and I think they're going to be superstars, honestly.
Awesome.
And break the stereotypes of the...
That's right.
Okay, well, there's some stereotypes I'd like to keep.
Yeah,
sure.
Indian
Beautiful.
time. I like Indian time. I like to be late. So.
Yeah, and it almost gave me a heart attack here this morning. But I love the beautiful Indian maidens and even married ones, so I'm happy, and that sticks around, and I'm going to be pleased. What would you like to do in the future? What would you like to see develop?
I want to help the tribes. I want to be, I mean, personally, are we talking about personally? Because, personally, there's things that I'd like to do in our communities, and I'd like to see kids make, film become, a viable option for people in our communities. I'd like to see that happen.
That's an intriguing thought. Now, if say a young person was interested in this industry, would there be some advice or some pointers that you might give them, either front of the camera or behind it?
I mean, the only advice I can give is tell stories, write, read. You have phones. There's a flute playing.
Yeah, that's our exit music. I accidentally hit the wrong button there.
I think that they have cameras that have phones that have cameras on them. They can make movies right now. So I think the more that they practice, the better they'll be if they're really serious about it.
Would there be disciplines maybe that they should focus on in trying to achieve this art?
I think writing is the most important. Watch movies. Watch movies.
Oh, well, I got part of it down. The watch movies part.
Yeah.
Let me think here. Now, I think I've burned through most of the questions I have. As a Creek person, a Seminole person, where does our culture fit in for you, and then does it translate into your work?
Yeah, I think it's always a part of my work. In Reservation Dogs, for sure, there's a lot of Muskogee language being used, and I don't explain it. I just want it to be there like it is in our lives. Willie Jack always calls people boa, and things like that. And Mado gets used a lot, and there's going to be some hymns coming up in the future episodes. So I think that it is a part of my life, and I make it a part of my films. That's important for me.
Oh, I think that's great. I love hearing the language in there, sprinkled in and without the explanation, And
yeah.
I just wanted to make the comment that I was talking with our director about this, and I was like, "Is this how white people feel whenever they watch, movies?
Exactly.
Is this how it feels to actually be represented? And is this why they're able to go on these like deep intellectual conversations about film because they've been represented for so long, And so,
that's pretty great.
Yeah.
When are we going to hear Mvskoke?
I don't know. I don't know if it's coming, but I'll have to put it in season 2.
Dalek Saksmoski.
Yeah.
Fry bread. Oh, I was speaking of fry bread. Funny Bone. We've seen these two guys before, and I know they're a pillar of culture, so to speak, around Oklahoma City. How did they work into the production here? Did you have an idea?
There was a part for two brothers, and they auditioned for it. Nice. There's twins. There's a part for twins, and they auditioned for it, and were just hilarious. So we cast them.
And the bicycle part?
It was written like that. They were just going to be riding bikes, kind of like the movie Friday, where Debo was always on a bike. So I had them, just these characters that ride bikes and kind of gossip.
I think Liz kind of touched on the subject a little earlier, but many of the things that these young folks have to do to survive or to get along could be considered illegal. Like taking a truck or selling bootleg flaming flamers and wanting to figure out ways to kind of make a few bucks without being totally straight about it. What do you think the impact of that was, and what were you trying to achieve?
I think that the main thing that I'd like to do is show kids for who they are. I think the worst thing that I ever see with kids in shows is when they make them seem like adults. Mm-hmm. And they're just like wisecracking smart kids. Okay. I like letting them be kids. And as we know, mischief is a part of that.
Right.
And so, adios to the Brady Bunch and the Partridge Family.
Sure. Yeah, I like showing real kids.
Right. And the insight there, and that all comes from you. Did they work their backgrounds into that portrayal there?
No. It's all me. Writing and the writers. The writers all came together. We wrote those parts. All the writers are native, which kind of helped tell that story as well. Pull from their life and also my life. It's just, I love movies like Stand By Me, movies like The Goonies, and I wanted to do something like that for natives.
If there was a magic wand here, or you could grant 3 wishes or something like that, what would you do? What would you create? What is your perhaps an ultimate goal in your work?
My dream job is to making Reservation Dogs. I never thought I would get a chance to do it. So I feel like the magic wand has been twirled, and I'm getting to do it now. I could easily retire after this show and be fine.
What are your plans for the future?
Well, I'm working on those shows that I mentioned. I want to make some more feature films, so I plan on doing that. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to do. Part of it is, seeing what the next year, how the show unfolds, really. It'll help me determine what else I'm going to do.
Now, first time I saw Miko, you were in, I believe, a hospital up north, awaiting a blessed event, and I think that happened during the presentation.
That's right.
How was your family there? I mean, everything going along the way you wanted to, or is this career
It's good.
and direction?
You know, I get to work here in Oklahoma. You know, that was always my goal, and I get to do it now. So I don't have to leave. I don't have to move to LA.
I've been to LA too, and I didn't care for it much. Liz, anything?
I just want to say I look forward to whatever Creek Fest scene that you write.
Yeah, season 2.
Yeah, you know,
we actually had one at a festival, but I ended up taking it out for season 1. But maybe it'll come back.
Oh, hopefully, yeah.
Maybe the festival will come back too.
Exactly.
You've heard, of course, this year's festival has been canceled, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That.
And the year before that, a tornado got us. Are you going to visit us here in Creek Country down here in Okmulgee Town?
I'd like to, yeah. I mean, I drive through there to go to Holdenville a lot, so I'll have to stop by.
Yeah. Please do.
I love Okmulgee.
Yeah, it's an amazing place now. And in the show, so many scenes are shown here in Okmulgee. Said, I know that street. That's my shortcut.
Yeah. My sister cool. Lives on that street.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I hope to come visit, and I hope Okmulgee's proud.
Oh, it's got to be now. Did they tell you anything? The mayor come out and hold a parade for you or anything like that?
No. Get a key to the city, maybe.
All right. Well, Sterlin, we're just so delighted that you took the time to speak with us.
Thank you all, man.
We've got a couple minutes left here in the show, and we'll think of something to fill it with. But is there any parting thought you might want to leave with our audience about yourself and about your work?
Well, I'm excited for the people to watch the rest of the show. You're going to get some insight to why these characters do what they do. It's also going to be really fun and funny, and there's some scarier moments and things. So excited for people to see it.
Awesome. Is there going to be a boxed set of this production for sale at some point?
Hope so. I don't even know if they make DVDs anymore, but I hope it's for sale somewhere.
Oh, I'm the old school. I've got a lot of those things.
That's right, yeah.
Even VHS.
I do too, yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, Sterling, want to say Mado, Mabo.
Hi, Mado.
And we wish the best for you. Keep us posted, and if you're going to visit us down here,
I will.
Let us know. I'm sure our TV guys will be so delighted to get a few minutes.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, Mado.
We'll get out of your way. Mado, bye. Sterlin Harjo, the producer and creative force behind Rez Dogs. Let's just call it Rez Dogs. It's easier to handle. Yeah. Now, let me ask you, as I say, we're killing minutes. What did you think when you first saw that? Was it?
Oh, exciting. I was so excited to see it. I was actually in Texas whenever all of this was being shot, so I missed all the bustle and excitement about them shooting, and I know people that have been on it, that worked on it, and it just ended up being just amazing.
Amazing, isn't it? Okay, a couple of real quick announcements. Of course, you heard the festival has been canceled due to thoughts about the COVID infections and things like that. And for the health of our community here, they've decided, next year.
There's going to be a Mvskoke Spelling Bee September 11th at 10 a.m. at the Eufaula Community Center. Prizes will be awarded to one division: first place $300, second place $200, third place $150, and fourth place $100. Free to participate, and meal will be served. For more information and study guides / rules contact, you can call 918-732-7649 or 918-457-6671.
Okay, finally, Mvskoke Creek Nation Living Legends ceremony is coming up. It's open for nominations. If you see a Mvskoke person who's just done wonderful things for the tribe and want to share that, please do. Okay, for Mvskoke Radio, this is Gary Fife saying Mado Mabo Hedgetscut.
And this is Liz Gray.
All right. Catch you next week. You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. But